Recently, Academic Agent made a video describing the current situation we find ourselves in, and by we he means red-pilled people all across the globe, and also provided some insight on what to do. I'll let him describe it best.
What is my proposal? I believe Charlemagne and distributists have similar, if not identical, ideas. Well, first, forget the idea of mass conversion of normies and plebs. The situation as we find it right now is more like this. The vast majority of people are blue. Note that I include in the blue number all establishment right-wingers and all centrist anti-woke types like James Lindsay. Let's say in 1,000 people, we might be lucky to have one or two people we might realistically say are red. My first proposal is that these people and folks, it's you. It's literally you watching this. It's you, Dave. It's you, Charles. It's you, Don. It's you, Yiz. All of these people who are red must be leveled up, both in terms of learning and in terms of becoming your best self. If your understanding and ideological commitment is currently at 6 or a 7, you should strive to make it a 10. The first step must be to create a vanguard of 10s. A 10 is not Jordan Peterson or James Lindsay or Dave Rubin. A 10 is someone who has total commitment, total rejection of the lies of the enemy, total embrace of the teachings of the red way and not the blue way. This is a rare person and a difficult thing to achieve because, recall, all the waters we swim in are blue. A 10 doesn't care about what a blue thinks of them. A 10 doesn't try to win favor with blues. A 10 doesn't try to convert a blue. A 10 does not react to the blues. A 10 does not work to attract the attention of the blues. A 10 should see the blues as one might see a horde of locusts or killer bees. They are virtually mindless drones who will behave as they have been programmed to. A 10, despite being surrounded by the ashes of civilization, knows what is good and true and righteous. A 10 has such a unity of mind, body and spirit that they have the inner strength to stand upright even as they are surrounded by locusts. A 10 is so completely red that he or she can be nothing else. A 10 will understand that not everyone can be a 10, and as soon as something becomes mass or plebeian, it will deviate from its core and dilute itself and open itself up to subversion. This is a point the distributist made. If the idea of being a 10 is, quote, cringe to you, you'll never be a 10, in which case you should go back to Fresh Prince and forget about all this. It wasn't for you anyway.
And this has had me thinking about it pretty much nonstop since I watched it. What does it mean, really, to be a 10? AA did give some examples there, and in describing who's blue and who is red, he did call all establishment right-wingers blue, and that seems about right. Mitt Romney is not a 10. He might not even be a 1. He's the definition of controlled opposition. Same with Chris Christie or Jeb Bush. What about Trump's 3 Supreme Court justices? Are they 10s? No, they've already turned out to be complete duds. Clarence Thomas is the only justice worth anything. And so we've got 1 out of 9, and he's not even a 10. Is Caitlyn Jenner a 10? Is Kanye West a 10? These people are a waste of our time, and it should kill a 10 on the inside to see how desperate the red side is that they continually fall for these charlatans every time. Is Dan Crenshaw a 10? No, he's just another warhawk intent on spreading his pearls of democracy to the swine of Islamic-ran countries through military occupation, which of course keeps the defense industry happy, despite the concept failing since before I was born. Is Sean Hannity a 10? Definitely not. Is Fox News in general a 10? I think we all know the answer to that one. Is listening to the same conservative media types discuss current events and detailing the craziness and hypocrisy of the left a 10 behavior? To me, this is about as high as most people go, maybe a 6 or a 7. It's good, but to be a 10, we need more than that. Listening to these shows seems a bit like going to church. People usually go to a church they agree with. And part of the allure of church is hearing that person you respect say the things you already like. You get to say, Amen, or That's right. It's a dopamine hit. And in the world of politics, that's refreshing, in a world full of blues. But it's a form of entertainment, and effectively, it's worthless. Nothing ever happens because of these shows. The left is never stalled in its tracks by this other narrative. Ben Shapiro can debunk any liberal myth he'd like to, but it will never stop the left from spreading that myth, or empowering it in the world, and subsequently having all the normies drink it up. Remember that all the waters we swim in are blue because historically they have been completely successful in their mission. Rush Limbaugh or Ben Shapiro aren't really a threat to them. No amount of conservative media pointing out the hypocrisy of the left will change anything. The header on the tombstone of conservatism will read, "Can you imagine if our side did that?" We could literally be put in concentration camps, and most conservatives would still be saying, "What if Trump was doing this right now? The left would be freaking out." None of that stuff matters. What matters is they're doing what they want, and whenever they want to. There was a lot of whining about COVID on our side, and it didn't stop all the businesses from being closed. It didn't stop mask mandates. It didn't stop schools from closing. It was totally ineffective. A 10 realizes that the left isn't concerned with hypocrisy. The left doesn't have the same moral objections to government overreach that we have. They don't have any worries about how this or that policy will look to the public. Government overreach is the goal. They exist to dominate you, to control you, to spy on you, to brainwash you and your kids. Do you think John Kerry cares that he looks like a hypocrite flying all over the world in a private jet to lecture rich people on climate change? Or that up until 5 seconds ago he owns stock in over 35 various energy companies worth almost $1 million? He doesn't care. He's granted protection by being blue in a world of blues, and he's doing exactly what the blues have told him to do. We're living in a time where the left has dropped any of the subtlety of what they're doing. It's all bold-faced lies, told with a straight face. Hypocrisy is meaningless. Think about the Great Reset. I'm assuming most of you have heard about that. It's literally a confession of what they would like to do to the world and how to do it. It's not a conspiracy. It's their own words. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. You will have no privacy, and you will be happy. America won't be the top superpower anymore, and you will be taxed to death. That's their utopia in their own words. It reminds me of a story I heard about Larry Bird, that he would tell the other team exactly what play he was going to run, and then he would just do it, because he knew they couldn't stop him. A 10 realizes that 99% of these conservative shows are controlled opposition, and rarely, if ever, are they giving out level 10 info. Let's get real here. Jeremy Boring is not a 10. It's why Daily Wire is still allowed to exist on YouTube. Tim Pool is not a 10. Dave Rubin is not a 10. It's controlled opposition in the sense that they can pay Joe Rogan $100 million to remove episodes they don't like off Spotify for even flirting with the ideas of exposing his massive audiences to ideas and people that might get them to a 6 or a 7. It's controlled in the sense that they can bully book publishers into not publishing any book they want. It's controlled in the way that Trump can just be depersoned instantly across all platforms, and no one really complains or fights back. And you saw that happen in the immediate aftermath. The entire GOP establishment turned on Trump. Fox News, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, they were all perfectly fine with what happened, because they knew they just had to ride that 4-year orange-faced tiger, and then things would just go back to the way that they wanted. A 10 realizes that the endless discussion on race is on purpose, that it's a distraction, it's a demoralization technique, it's fake, it's not real, that it's a government-orchestrated psyop, that you can go outside and the birds are chirping and the sun is shining, and 99.9% of us are getting along as best we can. As AA has pointed out before, protests are never effective unless the elites have willed it into existence long before the plebs have caught on. Would Bill de Blasio be out there painting the streets with Black Lives Matter if it wasn't preordained? The elites are well guarded, but mostly soft, like candy-coated chocolate. Take this congressman who was evacuated during the January 6th insurrection. It caught them off guard, and they stay at the top not because they're the strongest, biggest, baddest dudes in the country. They look like this. They're always prepared for what happens because 99% of the time they've set up the circumstances for it to happen. A 10 knows that Joe Biden was never worried about losing the election. He wasn't worried about how many days he'd call the lid on. He wasn't worried about poll numbers or how many people never showed up to his rallies. A 10 knows he was never concerned with how unpopular Kamala was, or how his own 49-year history in Washington would look under scrutiny, or how many kids he sniffed, or what his son was up to. The blue tide would carry his lifeless corpse all the way to victory, because that was the plan. A 10 knows what the progressives have been up to since the end of World War II. A 10 knows the plan, knows what comes next. A 10 is prepared for the things to come, and that next time it won't just be toilet paper that goes in short supply. A 10 is well read. A 10 prefers physical copies to digital ones, because a 10 won't be shocked when the digital book burning happens, which it already is. If you're here in America, a 10 is well armed. They realize the importance of the Second Amendment, and not just in a, oh, that was a neat thing for the framers to include kind of a way, but in an actually own and use guns and stockpile ammunition kind of a way. Anyways, I've been blabbing for too long, but this concept really got me going and thinking, and I love to hear what you guys think a 10 is too. So feel free to leave a comment and let me know. That's all I've got for today. If you like this video, leave a like and maybe subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.